question is, when we do an operation like this, should it be bigger or smaller? I'm in the camp of bigger. Time will tell. I'm hopeful and optimistic that the regime days are numbered. They're like
He's a walking psychopath.
Yeah. First of all, just look, he's so sad. He's like, well, maybe we weren't going to blow it up big enough. I like it bigger. They call me Lindsey, the size queen Graham. Graham likes it gonzo. We just need a bigger boom boom. He seems so depressed that there's not a war. Welcome to Loaded Talk. I am your congressman, the third most popular candidate to ever be. I am Frank, and along with me as always.
What's up, Planet Earth? I'm Bean.
And we are back. It is the new year. Happy New Year, 2026. It has started off busy, Charlie. A lot of times, Christmas time, things slow down. It takes a while. New Year, stretch your arms. America's been doing some things. Of course, old news at this point, but we did an incursion. There you go, Palmer Lucky. Incursion into Venezuela, a nation that we were not at war with. That was not covered by the authorized use of force that we have in the Middle East. Venezuela, not in the Middle East. So we did an incursion into Venezuela with military vehicles. Blew some things up, killed a good number of people, none of our people, of course. And then we stole the leader of the country and his wife to charge him with crimes in New York City. Crimes such as possessing and selling cocaine and owning a machine gun. Now, Charlie, he was in Venezuela. Is it against American law to have a machine gun in Venezuela?
I thought it wasn't.
Like, especially if you're a Venezuelan citizen, say the chief, the commander-in-chief, the dictator, the guy who rules the country with an iron fist and gets to invent all the rules. I'm pretty sure he can have a machine gun if he wants. Technically, a lot of our people have machine guns. It's just security behind, next to them. Secret Service and stuff. They got them, but, our people got them. One thing I find... So we go in, we snatch them, we leave, we charge them because, I don't know, Pam Bondi or something. I mean, not that I want Guantanamo Bay to come back where we just, disappear people to the rock and then put panties on their head and stuff. It happened. Not that I missed those days, but at least when you're charging you with a war crime, you go, well, that's international, people fighting, there's a war crime. Okay, I guess. This is but U.S. law for the leader of a foreign country who I don't know has ever stepped foot in America, at least not in decades.
Does he even have a piece of property here?
I doubt it. We would have taken it by now.
That's true.
I don't even know. So, you want to topple a government? I mean, I'm not saying, yes, I like toppling governments. I'm just saying, you topple the government. The charges in the U.S., and it's kind of making a mockery of the legal system in that we sent the military to arrest a fella in his home in Venezuela. His home happened to be in their military base because he was a bit scared that America might come in and take him. So that worked out. But I don't know. It's like, okay, so our legal system is very serious, and words matter, and we're arresting the president of Venezuela for having a machine gun and charging him in New York, where he's never been. Like, if I imagine he gets an attorney, because it's America. British soldiers got John Adams, so why not, get an attorney? I'd go in there. First thing it goes, just go, hey, no standing. I challenge the standing. Yeah, and if you're a serious judge, you have to look at it and go, yeah, what standing do we have dismissed?
There's nothing here.
Yeah, and like it's such a silly step because like, let's just say it gets dismissed because lack of standing, or I don't know. They'll probably have some sort of weird federal court thing that allows it to go on, or they'll come up with an agreement or something. It's probably just, a ruse to hold him in a cage without making it look like you just kidnapped the president and locked him in a cage and his wife. So there'll probably be some sort of deal that's brokered, but like, they go, it's dismissed. It's not like the United States are going, we'll fly you back to Caracas. Like, we're not letting him go, like we're not letting him go. So to even pretend, like, let's say they have the whole trial and he gets a good lawyer and Pam Bondi fumbles the case for a change. And they go, not guilty. Well, then what? We go, okay, well, that's cool. Anyway, we're locking him in Guantanamo Bay. We're going to execute him. You go, oh, okay.
So why did we go through all this?
Yeah, it's a ridiculously unnecessary step, and I don't know. It's like Maduro's a piece of garbage. Venezuela will definitely be better off without Maduro. If someone would have gone in and shot him in the head, preferably Venezuelan, I would have been like, great day. It was a good day. And Venezuelans were very happy. I talked to my sister down in Argentina, who said all the Venezuelans in Argentina were very happy. He is a tyrant and a dictator and a despot and all those other words people like to use. So it's good that he's kind of gone. It's just such an odd way to do this, and unconstitutional. People go, they did notify the Congress. You go, yeah, it's not really how it works. Okay, so I don't know, but I guess, what are your thoughts on that whole process?
The only thing that really, and of course this is my tin hat,
Yay.
the only thing that comes to mind is, are we just testing the world with our rules? Like, is this just a giant test to see how everyone takes it, and then we'll be like, all right, let's do it again?
I mean, I actually, to a certain degree, I do think that's accurate. I gotta say, I never really held out much real thought that we would acquire Greenland. Now I think it's about 100%. I think we'll cut a check or something, and that's going to be our territory. Like, after we snatched them and just left, it's just like, all right, well, I guess we're doing the Greenland thing too.
On to the next.
Yeah, like, especially when it was one of the first things they mentioned. It's like, we're invading Mexico and acquiring Greenland. And you go, yeah, okay, that's happening. But I do think, that happened right before the Iran stuff. So I think part of it was to show Iranian leadership, like, we might just show up and snatch you out of your bed while you're surrounded by the military. So there's that. And any other world leader, I think it was kind of a peacock of force. But yeah, I don't know. But here's another interesting thing about it, right? The charges. Possessing and running cocaine, right? What did they not charge them with possessing or running?
Fentanyl.
Which is interesting.
Very.
Because they were running so much fentanyl to the United States that we had to blow up every boat that left Venezuela and got into international water that likely had drugs on it. Likely, because we never confirmed it at all. or at least never offered any of the confirmation evidence to anyone. But, okay, so we blew up cocaine smugglers probably that were likely headed to like Caribbean islands with cocaine that was not going to kill Americans unless they were down on one of those islands and they did too much cocaine that they acquired with their own money in a voluntary exchange. Anyway, so we blew up those people because of fentanyl, but yet Maduro, the head of the cartel, that is a terrorist organization in our books, weren't involved with any fentanyl. They don't even want to argue that in court because you have to present evidence at some point.
Weird.
Yeah. It was kind of like, it's a little reminiscent of when Trump lost the election to Biden, and his attorneys, what was that chick's name? She used to have a really good reputation as a lawyer, and then she got into the Stop the Steal stuff. Sydney something or something. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Like, her and Giuliani would be out there, and, they'd be making accusations. They go, well, this happened, and this happened, and this happened. And you go, huh? And like I said, she was a very well-respected lawyer. So she's out there putting her reputation on the line. You go, I mean, she's saying this. They've got the evidence, or they got some evidence. And then court hearings would start, and they wouldn't get a lot of national media attention or anything. But when the Trump people would make their arguments, you go, well, they're not making any of the arguments they say on TV. They're not saying that stuff at all. Like when they have to present evidence and talk about, they don't even bring it up. This is interesting. And don't get me wrong, it seems there's a couple places that have proven some anomalies. Where was it? Was it Georgia? Was it Atlanta? Atlanta, some dude was challenging, he was doing Freedom of Information Act and all that kind of stuff. And I think Fulton County or whatever said that they did count something like 800,000 or 300,000 invalid ballots. And, Trump lost out Georgia by 12,000 votes or something. So you go, well, I guess there's evidence there, it's 5 years too late, but there it is. So I'm not saying they were wrong about everything. Oh, her name just popped in my head again. Sydney went away. But anyway, it's one of those big accusations. This is the truth. And then when you talk about it in court, you go, different thing's the truth. Different thing's the truth. So this reminds me of that. We got to do it because fentanyl is killing children in our streets. Don't you care about children dying of drugs? And then Rand Paul was on Rogan this week, and he was talking about it at some point. Rogan asked, when these things happen, do you talk to the people, the decision makers involved? What do they say? And he's like, well, yeah, most of it's, public. So there's nothing secret or anything. But he's like, I asked, if they were armed. He's like, because to me, it's a little different blowing up armed men in a boat, unarmed men in a boat. And they said the fentanyl was the arms. They were armed with fentanyl, and they're bringing it to the United States to hurt our citizens. And so it's okay. So they're unarmed then, especially now that there is no fentanyl. Because, I don't know, you can't, no one storms in with bricks of cocaine and say, nobody move! Right. Everybody's like, everybody move. Yeah. So, we'll see how this goes. It'll be fun to monitor. It'll be fun to see if the federal folks even mentioned fentanyl at one point during Maduro's trial. So some things have popped up since then. Where do we want to start with? Actually, this isn't a big thing. Just Democrats and some Republicans passed something saying all right, no more military action in Venezuela unless you go through Congress, which they really shouldn't have to pass because there's a constitution. But they passed it in the Senate, had to go to the House. And then Trump put the pressure on Hawley out of Missouri and some other dude. And so they went back. They were like, okay, cool, I changed my vote. So now it's a 50-50 tie. And so J.D. Vance, tie-breaking vote. No, turn that down. We do not need to talk to Congress before further action. So that's dead in the water. That's fun.
And showing your cards at the same time, like.
I mean, it's kind of obvious that the cards are,
Right.
we're going to keep doing whatever the hell we want. Constitution be damned. Because that, remember, MAGA, you Tea Party MAGA folks, that's what you wanted. Constitution be damned. You know? It was, the Tea Party movement is when I started to really realize how hypocritical the Republican Party is, but really everybody. Because, you know, all of a sudden there's this like fierce movement towards the Constitution. As a young man and stuff, I was like, good. This is good. You know, let's reduce the size of government. Let's, you know, next to nothing. People getting elected during the Tea Party wave, Marco Rubio, for example, term limits, shrink government, all this stuff. And I was like, all right. And so there's a couple people who have been in office forever, and Democrats are calling them out like, hey, where were you on the Constitution when, you know, whatever it was, when George W. Bush was doing this? And you go, that's kind of a good point. So I made this little note. I was like, I am going to pay attention after this whole thing's done, like when Obama's not in office, all these people waving the flag, wearing the flag, saying the Constitution is the law of the land. Let's see if they're still saying that with the next Republican. Of course they were not. Trump was the next Republican. And then Biden gets in. All of a sudden, Constitution. And when Trump was in the first time, Democrats, Constitution. And that's it. Like every party that's not in power just cries, Constitution. And then they get in power. They go, screw the Constitution. Like, we know it's right. So one thing that's interesting, actually, go back one step here. I'll switch over to it. So Carolyn Leavitt, the press secretary, reposted this on Twitter the other day on X, which is what makes it interesting. This Mike Netter guy, I don't know who he is. This source is not somebody I know or whatever. But from the official press secretary account, not from her personal account, and she does have a personal account, she goes, stop what you're doing and read this. So you go, all right. And so this is an account from a Venezuelan, get over here. Damn. From a Venezuelan security guard. So I think, I forget the word for it. It was like I forget some Spanish word. But I guess he was talking to some cat. This recording's been kind of going around the internet. This isn't translated. But he said, on the day of the operation, we didn't hear anything coming. We were on guard, but suddenly all of our radar systems shut down without any explanation. The next thing we saw were drones, a lot of drones flying over our position. We didn't know how to react. The other person goes, so what happened next? How was the main attack? Dude goes, after those drones appeared, some helicopters arrived, but there were very few. I think barely 8 helicopters. From those helicopters, soldiers came down, but very small number, maybe 20 men. But those men were technologically very advanced. They didn't look anything like we fought against before. And the battle began? Yes, but it was a massacre. We were hundreds, but we had no chance. They were shooting with such precision and speed, it seemed like each soldier was firing 300 rounds per minute. We couldn't do anything. And your own weapons, didn't they help? No help at all, because it wasn't just the weapons. At one point, they launched something. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a very intense sound wave. Suddenly, I felt like my head was exploding from the inside. We all started bleeding from the nose. Some were vomiting blood. We fell to the ground, unable to move. And your comrades, did they manage to resist? No, not at all. Those 20 men, without a single casualty, killed hundreds of us. We had no way to compete with their technology, with their weapons. I swear I've never seen anything like it. We couldn't even stand up after the sonic weapon or whatever it was. So do you think the rest of the region should think twice before confronting the Americans? This is you know, without a doubt, I'm sending a warning to anyone. I'm sending a warning to anyone who thinks they can fight the United States. They have no idea what they're capable of. After what I saw, I never want to be on the other side of that again. They're not to be messed with. And now Trump has said Mexico's on the list. Do you think that the situation will change in Latin America? Definitely. Everyone is already talking about this. No one wants to go through what we went through. Now everyone thinks twice. What happened here is going to change a lot of things, not just in Venezuela, but throughout the region. So, I know this is based on recordings that have been floating around, right? Of two dudes talking to each other. But it sure reads like one would write it if they were doing PR for the operation for the United States. Be like, so no one should mess with the United States military? No, not at all. They are vastly superior, and no one should mess with the military. They are so tough. 20 of them took out hundreds. And their weapons, oh my God, their weapons and their technology. It's like nothing I've ever seen. So that's my first thought, is some of this gets you where you go, really? Like, this is how this conversation went? It doesn't seem like a conversation would go this way. What do you think of that?
Yeah, like organic. It doesn't seem like it seemed organic at first, and then it went scripted.
Yeah, and then and so the thing that gives it validity at first blush is the press secretary goes, "Stop what you're doing and read this." Right? She doesn't say, "Here's something that really happened." She just said, "Stop what you're doing and read this." You know, let's say, "Boop. Stop what you are doing and read this." That's all. Not, here's a real account of what happened. Not, yep, that matches. Just read this.
And who uses... I don't use comrade all the time.
Yeah, Venezuela, they might.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know.
Russia does, too.
Yeah.
Just want to say that.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, yeah, commies. But yeah, like if it was fake stuff. It's just... I'm not saying that. I mean, obviously, we had 0 casualties. We did swoop in, and I'm sure we were technologically superior because it's Venezuela. They eat zoo animals, you know. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs. But so we clearly were superior. We clearly mopped up with them. But I don't know, yeah, just some of the transcription seems phony.
Yeah, like if that is real, the technologically advanced soldier, are they just seeing like they're wearing night vision goggles, or were we testing modified people?
Well, that's interesting. But also think about that helmet that old Palmer Luckey showed Rogan, so he's been making augmented reality, assisted helmets and things like that. Not that they look too crazy, but I bet you there's other doodads like that have been good. Because, the thing that he brings for show and tell on Rogan is going to be, he's got approved. It's a stripped down version and all that kind of stuff. And it's just what he's just finished. But, I mean, the company's not brand new. He's been making stuff. So, they probably, and there's other contractors too, of course. But yeah, they probably have some cool stuff. And if you're going to invade a foreign country's, the dude was living in their most secure military base because he was scared, which he probably shouldn't have put that post on the internet mocking Trump saying you'll never get me. I'm just saying, when someone's got this level of pettiness, don't play to it. Not unless you're real confident.
It's like they're playing tag.
Yeah. You can never get me. Oh, God. Just better be confident. That's all I'm saying. Real confident. But yeah, if you're going to send, 20 people in to a foreign country's most secure military base to steal the president of that country, you probably got them decked out with some cool stuff. So I thought that was interesting. But funny enough, day before yesterday, CBS put this out. Device that may be tied to Havana syndrome attained by the U.S. government. So the U.S. government quietly acquired a device in late 2024 that officials believe may be connected to the debilitating condition known as Havana syndrome, which more than 1,500 American officials have reported experiencing since 2016, according to multiple sources. So basically, we bought it for 8 figures on the hush. We did it like spy stuff, probably in the black market. Yeah.
Expensive.
Expensive. Backpack sized, contains components of Russian origin, 2 people said. 3 of the people said the Pentagon has been testing the device, which emits pulsed radio frequency energy, for more than a year, but did not offer details on the nature of the test.
Oh, good.
They said the investigators believe it may be capable of reproducing the effects described by victims of Havana syndrome, a term derived by cases first reported by diplomats in Havana, Cuba, 2016. But the thing is, the government has never really confirmed the existence of Havana syndrome, to the degree that a lot of the services have said there's no such thing. People got headaches, traveling stuff. Let's see. Victims have reported a spectrum of neurological symptoms, including severe headaches, head pressure. I felt like my head was going to explode. Vertigo, nausea, throwing up blood, ringing or popping sensation in the ears. Many have described hearing an intensely high-pitched, painful sound that appears to subside when they move to other locations. For some, the effects were so severe that they were ultimately forced to leave their jobs. Reports of cases have emerged from every populated continent, spanning dozens of countries, involving diplomats, intelligence officers, and military personnel. It's been popping up all the time. Some victims have spent more than a decade trying to draw attention to their cases, often faulting their government employers for failing to provide meaningful support or access to specialized medical care. In the absence of official recognition, some resorted to paying out of pocket for expensive diagnosis and treatments, and have described a sense of isolation, marginalization, as a condition was unacknowledged. Yeah, we've just been like, nah. So here, in 2023, U.S. intelligence concluded it was very unlikely that a foreign adversary was responsible for the illness, which the Biden administration formally labeled as an anomalous health incidents, or AHIs. They come up with 3-letter acronyms. It's always good.
Well, if they're saying it wasn't a foreign adversary, then
It's like, no, it's not likely they did it. It's like, did y'all do it? They didn't do it. Yeah, let's see if there's anything else interesting here. Blah, blah, blah. They say they're going to tell us more about it at some point, they promise. So I think that's kind of interesting that for, I guess, over a year ago, we bought a Havana syndrome weapon that uses radio frequencies. What was it? Radio frequencies?
Yep.
Was that okay? Pulsing at people, causes their head to feel like it's going to explode and all that. And then, working on that for a year. And then we went into Venezuela and we made their hair explode. So I think we've figured out how it works.
great.
Yeah, it's like, we're not even sure this kind of thing exists, guys. And you go, really? It's like, what's that? It's like, oh, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain there. Yeah, I thought that was a funny timing for this to come out around that same time. Have you seen, because this was 2 days ago I guess, day and a half ago, 7 p.m. Eastern. They released this at 7 p.m. Today's Thursday. So on a Tuesday at 7 p.m. they released this article. That's not going to be when you get the most eyes, I don't think. Interesting, Barry Weiss.
Convenience.
Yeah. So Barry Weiss and her. But anyway, have you seen much about this?
Nope.
Because it's CBS News that put it out there, not Breitbart or some conservative kind of thing that will get ignored. Like, this is CBS News, and like Barry Weiss is the new darling there. Didn't what's his face, IDF billionaire? Didn't he just buy it? Yeah. What's that guy's name? Him and this kid. Anyway, he likes to donate to the IDF. But it's really odd. Like, it seems like they kind of just put it out. Olivia Gotzi's. No relation to the Nazis. That's who wrote this. I don't see anything.
I just would like to say in my readings, this is not the first radio frequency weapon that has been discussed by the U.S. military or government.
Like officially or on? Yeah,
I've heard about the one that supposedly makes you feel like you're being cooked from the inside,
I've seen stuff like that before.
and like it's being actively used domestically and like riot control.
Yeah, you do see do see stuff about that popping up.
Gotta love direct energy weapons.
Right. And that is one of those things. Like, I mean, that, for lack of a better term, that is what this thing is. It's energy going directly at you. But I do find it odd that they get it, like, that they would release it at not a peak time, that no one really picked it up and ran with it. I haven't seen anything. I mean, I haven't seen it on like conservative news stuff. I haven't seen it on traditional news stuff. I mean, just this.
But even then, like, why even run it then?
Well, you have so the media is always playing a game, and so the game is to be legitimate, but also total shills. Most time, they're just the PR arm of the Democratic Party, and so every now and then they have to, make it look like they're not, and probably more so than that, whatever you call, maybe not the deep state, but the kind of the swamp, the bureaucracy, the Hydra, whatever you want to call this sort of ever-living bureaucracy that is our government. That's who gives them stories. That's who they represent. That's who they go to parties with, in D.C. and sip on fine beverages and laugh and join clubs and all that kind of stuff. They sleep with each other. It's that incestuous, just bleh. But they also got to get eyeballs, fair and balanced news, all that good stuff. So like every now and then you have to put something out there to say like, see, we're doing our job. But let's say there's a Democrat in the White House, right? And the job numbers are going to come out, and they are bad, right? Well, you release them on Friday before 4th of July weekend. People are leaving. They're not going to be watching the news. And so they put it out to you. You put it out Friday, 7 p.m. And you go, the job number is not looking great for the Biden administration. And you just put it out there, never talk about it again. And if someone goes, you never cover it. They go, look at this. We covered the jobs numbers. It's right there. We did it. It's, they have so many metrics. So many. Like, if you've ever, I heard Mr. Beast one time talking about the way his team analyzes YouTube and everything, and it's incredible. They look at every second. They watch engagement of every second, and the way they edit their videos has to do with maximizing eyeballs per second. Clearly, we do the same thing here. Clearly. That's why everybody stays for the full show.
We look so good, we don't even have to worry about that.
That's exactly right. That's why the women, that's why our audience is tons of just hot gals looking to hear these sexy guys gab. I'm going to start talking a little lower, a little slower.
It would be funny if that was the actual stat, too.
Our stats are not very heavy on female. Believe it or not. What the hell was I saying? Oh, but okay, just all the analytics that this dude named Mr. Beast, who now, of course, is huge, but like he's had this access for a while, and he had to start somewhere and kind of get into it. And YouTube's still essentially a free platform, and I'm sure he's got some diamond level tools or something crazy. I'm sure he's uses utilities that he pays for just because he's so big. But anyway, all that being said, Viacom, this multinational corporation, conglomerate, whatever it is, they've got metrics. They know, especially for their website. They know because free website, everything tells you like, oh look, when you release something at this time, you get the most views. I think even Facebook or something. They go, hey, you want to post it now? Do you want like email blast? Yeah, email blast software. They go, we can do a dynamic send, and it hits people's inboxes when they're most likely to check it. You go, oh, yeah, do that. So 15 out now, 15 out now. That's just email software. So they know what they're doing. They know when they put it out at slow times. They're doing it so they hope no one sees it.
Show me when nobody's on the website.
Yeah, that's when I want to put my big article up. And like I was looking up this Olivia Gazis. She's twice Emmy nominated. Traveled worldwide with the there we go. Traveled worldwide with the Secretary of State and contributes reporting on intelligence, foreign policy, and other security topics. See,
There it is.
there it is. She relies on the Secretary of State and intelligence to give her the information for her articles. So if she wants to have that cutting edge article about some uprising terrorist group in wherever the hell, where she's going to be somewhat embedded and get those nice shots of her in a helmet or something, going like, we're talking to Mahmoud over here, and Mahmoud, how's it been like since they've invaded your village? The goats are scared and they do not produce milk.
Run it.
Thrice Emmy nominated. Anyway, but so you want to get those ins, but you can't bend them over a barrel and be like, look at these pieces of garbage over here, all that. So you just go, you put it out there. You go, sorry guys, I got to put it out there, but it's gonna be pretty much buried. They go, yeah, okay, we don't care. So yeah, news is fun.
Thanks, Olivia.
Thanks, Olivia Gazis, not to be confused with Nazis.
Now I'm going to say that.
I mean, that's every time I see it. Not to be confused. Okay, so even when Palmer Luckey was getting all cranky about me saying invading, and that's when I was like, okay, an incursion, is that better? And he was like, yeah, that's more accurate. Okay, cool, an incursion. Whatever.
Words matter, Frank.
I mean, they do. I agree with that. And we didn't stay, so whatever. I don't care. Incursion's fine with me too.
Vacation?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm fine with the way. Like, incursion works for me too. But the word he used was kidnap the president, right? It was an incursion that involved kidnapping. And he was talking about it favorably, to be clear. This was not a critical thing. Go in there, kidnap him, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so we do that. We incur and we kidnap. And then we settle back down and you go, okay, is anything going to happen? And for the most part, no. Like the vice president, that's the thing. It's not a regime change because the vice president's running it, not the opposition party. And she was like, you know what? You'll never get anything, America. And then about 7 minutes later, she goes, well, I mean, we could be friends if you want to. And so they've been slowly releasing Americans that I guess have been locked up there for a while. There's like Americans and political prisoners. 800 people are considered arbitrarily detained for political reasons. And so they've released 56 so far, but they're still releasing them. So, some good's coming of it. A war has not broken out. Not that I was really worried about the Venezuelan military. Like I said, they're eating dogs. If they invaded America, they'd go to Golden Corral. They just sit there and go, yeah, we'll be here. That's how you distract them. You just like line the battlefields with a Thai buffet, They wouldn't get past the egg rolls or spring rolls, whatever. I lose track sometimes. But anyway, so we do that, and then immediately there's like unrest in Iran, purely organically. People have been a little upset about some policy for a while, but people kind of got mad for no reason. just on their own, probably. Real quick, like after we went into a country, stole their leaders with over what am I trying to say? Lots of military force. So then we go, hey, don't you shoot those protesters, or we're gonna come and get you. And Iran's like, nuh-uh. They're like, well, we're gonna shoot protesters. So then at some point they snatch up this guy that owns some store, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna execute him tomorrow. And so we start sending over planes and assets. Ships start going that direction, and we're all like, oh god, here it comes. They're going back to Iran. And Netanyahu is playing smooth jazz, lighting candles in a bubble bath, just like watching the radar, going, here it comes. And then
God, that's probably so accurate too.
yeah, he's like, oh yeah. I just assume that's how Netanyahu likes to consider global conflict. Okay. Anyway, so they're heading over, and then it's like, all right, tonight's going to be the likely strike on somewhere in Iran. And then it just never happened. And so, everyone's kind of like, thank you. And so there was a bit of a question as to, like, why it didn't happen. And so this was from before it bailed out, but it kind of gives some insight. Who is Gaddy Shorts? Gaddy Shorts?
I mean, I could guess his background.
I mean, I see this is NBC. Oh, it's NBC. Of course. Look at the glasses. It's just another Rachel Maddow clone. They had Rachel Maddow. They had that other dude who had her same glasses and same haircut that was on like right after her or something, or before. I forget. His name was something. And then this guy. They just, I don't know. They've got a little like growth lab where they grow people.
They grow news anchors.
They grow, yeah, anchors, but they're not good at developing eyeballs, so they all need those same thick glasses. It's just a theory I'm working with. NBC Universal, they do things like grow people. Anyway, so this headline here is Trump would want military action in Iran to be swift and decisive, sources say. So Trump told his national security team that he would want any U.S. military action in Iran to deliver a swift and decisive blow to the regime and not spark a sustained war that dragged on for weeks or months, according to U.S. officials, two people familiar with the discussion, and a person close to the White House. If there's anonymous sources, I like having multiple ones. If you confirm it with a couple people, as long as it's not just like two people standing next to each other going, ugh. If he does something, he wants it to be definitive. One of the people familiar said. But so far, advisors have not been able to guarantee him that a regime would quickly collapse after an American military strike. They're concerned the U.S. doesn't have enough assets in the region. We don't have enough assets in the Middle East.
How much do we need?
I mean, all we got Saudi Arabia and UAE and Qatar and Israel, Egypt, Jordan, right? Do we have some in Jordan?
Yep.
Do we have some? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Whatever. So they don't have enough assets to guard against what they say would be an aggressive Iranian response. Yeah, probably. Those dynamics could lead Trump to approve a more limited military offensive in Iran, at least initially, while reserving options to escalate if he decides to take any military action at all. To the fast evolving situation as of Wednesday afternoon, no decisions have been made. Trump told protesters that help is on the way and called the situation in the country fragile. As for comments, who cares? Let's see. Trump told reporters that he had learned the Iranian regime had stopped killing protesters and halted plans for executions, either of which he said could trigger a U.S. military response. We have been informed by very important sources on the other side, and they said killing has stopped and the executions won't take place. I hope it's true. Who knows? They asked if military action's off the table. He said, we're going to watch and see what the process is. Yeah, of course, ain't scared, they say. Tuesday outlined, who cares? So they're giving them different options. All options are on the table, of course. There's something in here. Yeah, being brief, Central Command, prepared military options for trial. Oh, man. This was like a couple of years ago. Old Jimmy would be in charge of at least writing up the report about those plans. Central Command of the Middle East. We could have gotten some good info. And then finally got him kicked out for sharing secrets. Been trying for years. He just won't do it. He won't crack. All right, let's see. There's something else. Yeah, here it is. Among the concerns officials have discussed is that an Iranian regime weakened from weeks of protests across the country and facing potential collapse could be far more dangerous than retaliating against U.S. forces in the region and allies, such as Israel, said the U.S. official, one of the people close to the White House and one of the people familiar with the discussion. When Iran retaliated against the U.S. air base in Qatar, yeah, they called first and it was a fake attack. Wednesday, hundreds of U.S. troops departed the Al Udeid Air Force Base in Qatar, heading for safer locations in the U.S. I saw something, word on the streets was that head of Qatar was like, you can't launch from Qatar to attack our neighbors. Like, we're Team America here.
Really?
I don't know if that's going to hold up as being true. I saw it today. Where they go, hey, don't launch here and attack her.
Qatar's putting the brakes on? What?
You go, hey, we got you a plane, dog. Like, what do you want? I'm like, I own you. Hey, look at this. You know what I got here? Tucker Carlson dancing. Look at that. Let him dance. Never mind. I'm not getting into that. But yeah, so at some point, as things are getting ready to pop off, either they got the good news. Another thing I saw, I guess it was Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Turkey that was delivering the information to Trump saying, don't do this right now. They say they're going to stop killing and stuff. So what that means, I don't know. Maybe those three are saying maybe they worry about the source of some of the intelligence being provided to the United States. Maybe they think the source providing some of this intelligence about Iran to the United States might have ulterior motives and might have long-standing wants for the American military to overthrow the regime on their own instead of having to do it themselves, which would destabilize their relationships in their region.
Huh.
It's just a thought of what they...
Who would want to do that?
I don't know. It could be... It just could be what they're thinking. Saudis and all of them. Maybe they go, I don't think as much is happening as you're being told is happening, Don. And we just called dude on the phone and said, hey, why don't you stop any of these planned executions? And he said, okay. So I don't know. Hope they stopped. That was just pure speculation on my part. But for these three countries to get together and be like, hey, Donnie, let's not do that. It can't all just be, I guess some of it could be like we're worried they're going to attack us in retaliation, but that would be silly for Iran to go, all right, America hit me, I'm going after Saudi Arabia and Turkey and Qatar. But it's like one of those things like, yeah, you don't want to do a multi-front war. That would be swift, I think Israel might be interested in jumping in at that point too, if we could talk them into it. If we could, I know they're peaceniks and they don't really like military conflict.
Russia emergency evacuated their diplomats out of Israel last week, I think.
They sure did, yeah.
And that was odd.
Yeah, Yeah, there was something. What did I see? There was something that happened. No, I think it was just Iran stuff. Yeah, I thought I saw something about diplomats leaving. Well, yeah, it was all Iranian stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the writing's been like they've been talking about the Iran thing. That's always posturing back and forth, and it is not. It was not a surprise that it was like, hey, we're gonna send a bunch of people over to attack Iran. Like, you're hoping it wouldn't happen again, but when it did, you didn't go, well, I'm shocked, you know?
Right.
Especially after Venezuela. You go, yeah, that one worked out well. Might as well just keep it going. Like, let's keep this train rolling. Okay, here, let's see. Oh, what did I do wrong? No, that's not what I want. It's been too long since I pushed all these buttons. Lindsey Graham is, of course, very upset that he doesn't have his war. He said in an X post, all the headlines suggesting that our so-called Arab allies have intervened on behalf of Iran to avoid decisive military action by President Trump are beyond disturbing. The Ayatollah's regime has American blood on its hands. They are slaughtering people on the streets. If it's accurate that the Arab response is action is not necessary against Iran, given the current outrageous slaughter of innocent people, then there will be dramatic rethinking on my part regarding the nature of the alliances now in the future. Signed, Lindsey Graham. Let's see.
I do think your impersonation is the best.
Yeah, oh no, it's been voted on by everyone. Hollywood voted me the best.
Can we do something with Lindsey Graham? Can we send him on a,
Love boat.
long extended vacation?
Nice Israeli love boat. Just a bunch of oily IDF dudes.
Delete.
Oh, heavens. All right. We want to see, this is how sad Lindsey Graham is that he's not getting a war, okay? Oh, yeah. Gotta listen to him, I guess, too.
Yeah.
But, look at the body language, listen to the tone of voice. Okay, so this is him, he didn't get his war. We didn't strike them. All right. Oops, yeah. There we go. Oh, poor little Lindsey Graham.
There are a lot of headlines out there that are, in my view, not accurate. President Trump's resolve is not the question. The question is, when we do an operation like this, should it be bigger or smaller? I'm in the camp of bigger. Time will tell. I'm hopeful and optimistic that the regime days are numbered. There are a lot.
He's a walking psychopath.
Yeah. First of all, just look, he's so sad. He's like, well, I think the real question is maybe we weren't going to blow it up big enough. I like it bigger. They call me Lindsey, the size queen Graham. Graham likes it gonzo. And we just need a bigger boom boom. But look how but really, he seems so depressed that there's not a war.
I don't even know how to that is, way to show your cards, dude.
Yeah. And it's
Doesn't care at all.
Oh no. And for whatever, even though he loves ladies so much, he hasn't had any kids. And so and he loves ladies. He loves them. Just a bachelor on the prowl. Never settled down, never had any kids. So no matter what, his line dies with him. He's got no one going to war and no one suffering repercussions, no matter what. And it's shocking that he doesn't have an army of illegitimate children based on all the ladies he's loving all the time.
Way to see the positive in that.
But yeah, it is one of those things when he's so bold about it. And it's just you don't have kids or grandkids that are going to get dragged into this. You're just this old man in D.C., not even South Carolina, you're in D.C., there's an old man who's going to sit in a lobby, sip a Manhattan, and go, we got those boys at war right now, stars and stripes, and defense contractors slide them some briefcases. And they go, thanks for your service, Lindsey. Yes, sir. Just love a man in uniform. But no, like, listen to the way, because that was kind of an edited clip. I don't know if Fox did the edit or if the Lindsey Graham team did it, because he posted that. But the question is not about Donald Trump's resolve to attack. No, Donald Trump will attack. Donald Trump will attack because he's a great man. He will attack because he's a great man. That's what great men do. I think the only question is, what do we need to attack more? Because it might be, or maybe less, but probably more. We probably do more attack is the problem. We just need to think about our attack a little bit more. But don't worry, no, we're gonna attack. Like, his resolve is good. We're gonna attack. And that's like, he wants it so bad. He wants it so bad. It is insane. That's the thing. Like, he's a ridiculous, silly little man. But like, it sucks that he has power, and him like just coddling up to Trump is like the sycophantic, just lust in his eyes. You go like, this is embarrassing. It's embarrassing all around, and it's embarrassing for Trump to allow him to be around. You go like, why would you want this thing around you all the time? Just, and he's not. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But like, he has this power, and he's a silly fella. But like, he does like this whole lust for war thing is crazy. Like, it is psychopathic. It's because it goes back decades. Like, John McCain, like, so back in the George W. Bush days, the people that stand up to George W. Bush would be John McCain, the Maverick, and Lindsey Graham. They were always like, there was, what was their McCain? They passed some stuff together. I forget. But, they were trying to get in the way of W on different things, but they never wanted to not go to war. Like John McCain running against Obama, bomb ran, and Lindsey Graham's right there going, oh, yes, God, yes. It's just like, yeah, how many people do you want to die? And for what purpose? Like, you fly around. I'm sure you get to go on cool trips that are paid for by other people. I'm sure you got a good amount of cash somewhere. Most of your stuff is paid for by taxpayer dollars. Like, I know you got a cushy life. I get that. But, like, is it going to get that much cushier if we bomb a bunch of people?
Maybe he's just bored because his life is that cushy.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe he just really wants to put on a bomber jacket and fly to some war zone and get photos of him waving,
Great idea. Let's fly Lindsey Graham to wherever we go to war.
Yeah.
And leave
Near
him.
the front lines.
Yep, leave him there.
Yeah. So good news, Lindsey Graham. Send you to the front lines. All of a sudden the Jeep pulls away. He's like, guys. I was like, no, we left you with the sidearm. Get the bad guys. Over that way.
Good luck.
Let's see. What we got? Not a lot of time. Oh, yeah. So one of the other big things that happened is this guy, Nick Shirley, who maybe, I'm sure he had a following, but essentially a kind of a no-name internet guy that wants to do investigative reporting, I assume. And so he had a little channel. And so he went in Minnesota. He found this guy named David. David is who I think I'm going to end up being as an old man. And David was just like, his office is in the middle of Minneapolis, where there's a lot of Somalis, a lot of Somali daycare centers. And just walking to work, walking around at lunch and stuff, he's just like, I've never seen one kid at any of these daycares. And then he said there's like these non-emergency medical transport vehicles. And he's like, and you see that Somali guys are driving them around. And at first I was like, well, that's good. They're, in the community, like helping. He's like, then you go, they've never driven a single human into that. Why are they always empty? You know? And so he started looking into funding, just federal funding, and it ends up they're, you know, getting $1 million here, $2 million there, all these different things for 90 children, 70 children. And so this dude, you know, they basically just go around knocking on doors. Most places are empty, even during their open hours. Every now and then someone would open, like, can I enroll my kid here? Like, no. Just like talking through a cracked door, don't come in. I think they found one person that was like, oh, yeah, let me take your information. We'll send you something. And even then, I think that was just the only smart person in the scam. Where it's like, you don't go, no, go away. You go, give me your information. I will give you a call. We would love to have your child here. It's that easy. Most of them are just too stupid to figure it out. They go, get out of here. I'll kill you. And you go, okay, daycare. Of course, the nice punchline was a quality learning center that had learning misspelled on the sign, which was just perfect. And so, you know, that's part of, like, just millions and millions have been going to these scam businesses. It's not just, like, the Somalis do it in, like, Minnesota and I guess Ohio. Memphis does it too. Memphis, somebody will, like, set up a daycare for their own kids, maybe their nieces or whatever, and they'll set up for grant money. And so it's empty most of the time, but they get that same $1 million a year or whatever. And at most, they watch their own relatives and their own children. There was one set up near my dad's old company. My dad's old company had like I don't know how many gallons it is, but a 20 or 30 foot tall vat of acid in the back of it. And so then you go, look at that daycare over there. That's fine. But the acid was there first. To be fair, they saw the acid and thought this is a good place to set up a daycare. Yeah. Anyway, so and there's more fraud going on. I guess the welfare system. A lot of the money was getting flipped just straight to Somalia. Like there's been more there's been so much taxpayer money sent to Somalia that it matches their GDP.
Wow.
Their entire GDP. We're like, here's that in cash. Not one bank threw up a red flag going, a lot of money going to Somalia. Like, nobody did. Not one bank. And in Ohio, they were straight flying it out in suitcases full of cash to Somalia. And like, you know, and I do not think carrying cash is a crime, and I do not think law enforcement should be able to take it just because it's large quantities of cash. But if they're going to take, $15,000 from me, because if I'm going to buy a car and call me a drug dealer, and how the hell are people flying out with millions and millions in suitcases to a foreign country? And they even tracked a good chunk of it directly to Al-Shabaab, the terrorist outfit. And, like, not just, like, terrorists, but, waving the AKs, death to America, like the good terrorists, the ones Team America World Police fights, But, so lots of weird fraud. The funny thing about that, talking about the press and covering up, is in that process, which, once again, like, it was mainly this dude, David, that did this work, and this Shirley guy found him. And they just walked around knocking doors. It was very non-controversial. They'd go, hey, is anybody there? And so, for whatever reason, the American press jumped on, who the hell is this Nick Shirley guy? Why is he such a piece of garbage? Like, he's a Republican or something. And no one looked in. Like, later they were like, hey, I called up one of these places, and they said, that he was telling a lie. Like, there's one they even videoed themselves. They didn't go from their office in D.C. or New York or whatever. They were like, Minneapolis daycare. Hello, Quality Learning Center. Is it true you don't have children there? That is not true. We have children here all the day. They're here right now. We have so many children. They go, oh, well, I saw this Nick Shirley video. Yes, he was lying. He was very rude. Well, thank you so much. Click. Nick Shirley's lying. Yeah, that's good reporting. And so, like, that, for whatever reason, that was the route they took, where they were like, we can't allow massive amounts of fraud to be stopped on, like, in the Somali community of Minneapolis. It's like, that must go on for whatever reason, probably because it's Tim Walz' estate and it makes the Democrats look bad because it's a blue state. And they go, well, we can't have that. Clearly, this is racism. But an interesting thing, after all that rambling, that's just to set up something slightly related, but a little bit different. So this prosecutor, Joseph Thompson, is a 47-year-old career federal prosecutor. Trump put him up there in June to serve as acting U.S. attorney for the District of Minnesota. Thompson, who expressed an interest at the outset in combating the, quote, shocking and unacceptable levels of fraud in our state government programs, prosecuted numerous cases of social security fraud, even after he was relegated to the status of assistant attorney following the U.S. Senate's confirmation of Daniel Rosen as the Gopher State's top federal. He ended up quitting. So this guy helped find fraud in Minnesota. He wanted to prosecute it. Tim Walz did not like him, called him names and stuff, partisan hack and all that. So people familiar with his decision told the New York Times that he objected both to the alleged push by the senior Justice Department officials for a criminal probe into the anti-ICE activist Renee Good's actions, as well as the DOJ's refusal to loop state officials into its investigation into whether Good's fatal shooting was lawful. So basically the feds said, we're going to open up a criminal probe into Renee Good, who is the woman that got shot by ICE when she rammed the dude with the car, which I guess that guy had internal bleeding too, so she rammed him up pretty good. So that one, look, if you're going to try to ram anybody who's got a gun, they're going to shoot you. If I have a gun, and I do, and you drive your car at me, I'm going to shoot you. And I'm not going to feel bad about it. And if they go, you murdered her, I'm going to say, no, she was hitting me with her car, so I shot her so she wouldn't kill me. I wouldn't feel bad. ICE did it. I know ICE is controversial. And federal police, I know, protesting. Like, protest them, that's fine. That's cool. You can't ram them with the car. You're going to get shot. Okay? Like, protest, good. Stand up to them, good. Take good avenues. If you're going to go to war, you got to go to war. And if you're going to be a one-man army, it's going to be a short war. But have at it. I'm just not going to feel bad for you. Like, sorry. But anyway, so basically the federal government was like, let's open up a criminal probe because we think she's kind of a piece of garbage. And he's like, I don't know that that's needed. She's dead. She's dead. And the ICE agent's not getting in trouble. Like, why do we need to open up a criminal probe? And then they didn't want to bring state officials into the investigation of the shooting itself to determine whether it was lawful. So it happened in the state of Minnesota, and they kind of blocked out Minnesota from let's investigate to confirm it's a lawful shooting, And they go, well, we're not letting anybody but us investigate us. We're going to investigate us on whether we did something bad. And so this guy, appointed by Trump, said, I'm out of here. Let's see. He allegedly wanted the shooting investigated as a civil rights matter and was poised to investigate it in concert with Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. His decision to work with the state agency was, however, reportedly overruled by DOJ officials. So he even started the process. And Pam Bondi or whoever was just like, no. Thompson's office has told multiple outlets that he would not be commenting on his resignation. He just said it's an honor and a privilege to represent the U.S. and this office. But I think that's very interesting. And I think kudos to this fella because, he's most likely a Republican. He got put in there by Trump, by a Republican. Maybe he didn't like being knocked down to assistant after he was acting, but he probably knew all along. I mean, when you have acting in your title, they're going to be hiring somebody else, you know. But I don't know. It sounds like he was just like, this isn't the way to do this. Like, this is the way that, this is the way I feel like the Biden administration was handling their sorts of investigations, is they're going, hey, you shut up. We looked into us and we're fine. You know, it felt like that's how the Biden administration ran stuff. So now Trump's doing it that way. And he's like, I don't think that's how we should do it. Let's just investigate it. Confirm it was okay. You know, let's just confirm it was okay. And, you know, it's hard to say because we're getting all the evidence from the people who did the shooting. But there is a lot of video out there. I mean, she did drive a car into him. So, like,
Sort of.
yeah. You know, can't do it.
But you play, like you said, you're playing games.
Yeah.
Ice. You're gonna lose.
Just anybody with a gun, even if you're only planning to tap them a little bit with your car, you're probably gonna get shot. Just don't ram people with your car. In general, whether they have a gun or not, just don't do that. But if they have a gun, you're probably gonna get shot. It's just, yep. People's court. You go, I don't know. It feels like it sorted itself out. Yep. Wish you had her dad kind of, I guess her dad was on the news, and he's a Republican fella. And he's just like, well, he's like, saw the footage and everything, and, you know, I think it's fine. She was out there protesting. I just wish she would have made a different decision. He's like, I don't fault her. I don't fault him. I don't fault her wife or girlfriend or whatever. He's like, I just wish it went a different way or something like that. And you go, yeah, and there you go. All right. I think that'll be enough for this week. What you got for the fine people over there?
The Grok fact for the day. It is January 15th, 2026. Did you know that January 15th is celebrated as National Hat Day? This quirky holiday commemorates the day in 1797 when London
Haberdashery.
John Hetherington reportedly wore the first top hat in public, causing such a stir that he was fined for disturbing the peace.
That's a nice hat.
It's a reminder of how fashion can literally turn heads.
Bum, bum, bum. That's hilarious. Everyone's like, look at that hat. They go, we got to stop that man. He's out of control. This is my newest hat right here, actually.
I thought it was fitting.
Oh, this is fitted, by the way. Yeah, that was a good one. All right, well, remember to like and follow and subscribe on the Rumbles, on the YouTubes, on the Twitters, on the, what do we do? On the Spotify's, Apple Pod, anywhere you find your podcast. Tell your friends. Get them to add us. Do the alerts. Do the Twitters. Do the Instagrams. We're doing things, people. We're doing things. You need to watch it and share it with people because we're here putting in the hard work that Americans don't want to do.